ETEM Hatep Sini Sanet Ankwas the Jet Uncle Jasanab Dua Henu for listening. Just getting set up over here. So give me just a few moments, if you will. Get it set up, get it going today. Tap to the chat. I'll be looking at the chat kind of periodically today as well. Try to. But let me get all my goodies ready for you, huh? Let me pull up my PowerPoint. We'll get things going. I hope everybody's day is good today. Try to get y'all early today. Nice and early. I think I'm catching a cold from my girl or something. I don't know. See what's going on exactly with that later. Let me open up the PowerPoint. Turn it on the phone too, so I can tune in so I can see what's going on in the chat, right? See who's in there. Oh, there it goes right there live. See my brothers and sisters in here today. Cosmic Thoughts, Imhotep. You just woke up. Imhotep. Save the Cosmic Thoughts. You know how it goes. To be honest, I woke up too. I just hopped up. I said I had to run to my house, from my girl's house, and then I shot over here, darted over here as soon as I could. Now I'm over here. Who else is in the chat? I see two. Give me just a moment. My PowerPoint is not coming up for me. I want my PowerPoint up. There it is. It's loading, it's processing. It just takes a little while. Wing! There it goes. That's what I'm talking about. Get a full screen of it. Once it finishes loading. All these things take preparation. All these things take preparation. I want to go blow it up real big. I'm going to show the screen in just a moment. You drove 24 hours. Where'd you go, family? My goodness, yo. Man. Where'd you go, Cosmic? Tell us where you was at, fam. That is a long way. Let me at least show my face. All right, my goodies up. ATE Emetap Sini Sana Ankwas the Jet Uncle Jasana Dua Henu Dua. And thank you for listening again to another episode of Praise the Divine. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, praisethedivine.org. That's praisethedivine.org, not .com. Today we're going to be covering the concept of nTr, the God concept in ancient Kemet, or the manifestation for our atheist brothers. This way everybody can follow along and get involved and comprehend this concept from not just mythos and spirituality, but science as well, right? Science as well. So all those things very important, right? Sure my aunt is not choking me, huh? It's a little tight on the neck, you know. All right. So let's hop right in. PowerPoint presentation for you all. I will share my screen. And we will hop right into it. You guys have probably been following the other topic. Does the word Kemet? We're going to get to that in a minute too, by the way. We're going to get to that in a minute too. Not today though. Today, we're doing what we should be doing. So nTr, the God aspect in ancient Kemet, covering the concept of the creator and the manifestation. And of course, it's me, it's your brother Saram Ka. So share a like, hit the like button if you like to. If you like it, then you do what you do, right? But let's start with nTr. As you can see here, these are three ideograms, and they end as a determinative. The term nTr written out shows the water symbol, the T symbol, the mouth symbol. And I believe it's written another way as well. But whatever. This determinative has been taken as a few different things. It's been taken as an axe. It's been taken as a flag standard, and a couple other things. We don't have to get into everything. Somebody tried to say it was one of the scepters, not the Wa scepter, but the flail, I believe they tried to say it was. But this determinative shows the aspect of the creating, the creator, and creation, and before creation, and anything that has the potential to come into being, period. Right? And it expands out even further than that, and we'll get into a definition. E.A. Wallace Budge had the longest definition I've ever seen, and it wasn't a bad definition. I just took his summarization of it here. It says, we have already said above that the common word given by the Egyptians to God and spirits of every kind and beings of all sorts and kinds and forms, which were supposed to possess any superhuman or supernatural power, was nTr. This is his concept, right? Because he equates it to monotheism, which is, I respect that, understood. This is the actual concept, and this is what's really going on. And as you see, my definition is here on the right. It's the creator of things that come into existence and that have the potential to exist. It's everything which, including ideas and thoughts, with the potential to exist, and that does exist in the physical and non-physical realm. So everything that you can physically see, to the things that you cannot physically see, to the universe, to things before the universe. As they say, the universe is expanding. It's everything. It's all everything encompassing, from the ideas, the thoughts of coming into being, from potential energy, etc., etc., etc. It's what doesn't exist yet and what is hidden before existing. So as we say, energy can't be created or destroyed. But we don't know how far energy stretches. We only know 4% of our universe, right? Anything outside of that is a guess, because we don't know how far the universe goes. There's certain things we do not know. Science says 13.8 billion years since the Big Bang, but they believe another Big Bang caused the Big Bang we have. Right? And they also only know what they can see in our physical universe. They cannot see outside of our physical universe to make a determination of how much, how far, etc., etc., etc. So this is our first definition of nTr. If you never knew what nTr meant, the one on the right encompasses that. And if you just strictly spiritual, which I'm spiritual, of course, but I also use science, you can take the one on the left, right? Let's go further. Let's get in depth, because we got to get into some esoterics. We got to get into some scriptures, right? We got to get into some text so we know that we can confirm these things. And then we have to do science. Here's some science. We don't have to fear science. Certain other religions, sometimes they have to fear science. It's not our issue here. you see this is what they call the Big Bang Theory. We'll touch this first because this is the famous model in science today. Here is the bang. After the bang, you can see the waves, and these are how the waves go. Seconds after, blah, 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 minutes after, blah, 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 blah. When you start to form different aspects such as positrons, protons, neutrons, mesons, hydrogen, all these here, helium on down, quarks, all of this is here. The radiation, which is energy, obviously. Particles come after the radiation. Heavy particles carrying the weak force, quarks, anti-quarks, etc. All this comes after energy. And we've discussed what energy is on several occasions, haven't we? Energy covers spirit, spiritedness, the ability to do work in classical physics only, right? But it expands that, covers radiation. And you see radiation was first, right? You also see that the whole universe was energy first, and we're going to get into that in just a moment here. So this is your Big Bang Theory. This is your classic idea of the universe right now. If science walked up to you and said, your God doesn't exist, how does it correlate to science and our theory? What would you say? What would you do? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if our text holds up. First and foremost, when the universe is created, it is extremely hot. How hot was the early universe? The universe grows and cools until 100 seconds after the Big Bang. The temperature is 1 billion degrees, 109 K. Electrons and positrons annihilate to make more photons, while protons and neutrons combine to make deuterons. Almost all of the deuterons combine to make helium. Helium causes what? Combustibility, especially when it becomes neutral and starts to create a hydrogen. Then you've got helium and hydrogen. And that can only mean combustibility is about to happen. Explosions are going to happen. Yes, we're going to touch the Zep-Tep, brother Cosmic. We're about to touch. So this is the Big Bang. Seconds after the Big Bang, it's 1 billion degrees. It's something about 1 billion degrees. Now, we covered this on the nTr equals MC squared video. At 1 billion degrees, and remember, this is when it's cooling. This is when it's cooling off. At 1 billion degrees, you cannot have anything but energy and clumps of energy inside of the energy. You cannot have anything physical yet. So there can only be energy at this time. There is no matter at this time. It's too hot for matter to formulate. Capiche? Capiche. What comes first, energy or matter? Energy comes first. Comes first. Then, after the energy cools and starts to create forms, what do we get? That's when we start to get matter. So we go here, the universe development. This is just basic science. Soon after the Big Bang, primordial protons and neutrons form from the quark gluon plasma. What is plasma? We find plasma in blood, don't we? Of the early universe as it is cool below 2 trillion degrees. It's at 2 trillion degrees. A few minutes later, in a process known as the Big Bang, nucleosynthesis nuclei form from the primordial protons and neutrons. So you've seen the model. You know energy is first. You can see it's over 2 trillion degrees before it gets to 1 billion degrees. And after that, you start to get formations of matter. There is no matter before energy. Energy is first, then matter. Every portion, piece, whatever you want to call it, particle of matter contains energy within it. Capiche? Capiche. All right, let's keep going. So even when we go to what we call absolute zero, for those of you who have never heard this term before we start to get spiritual and get into the text, uh, even at absolute zero, atoms continue to move. Energy must have come first. Absolute zero isn't just a fancy sounding number, it's the lowest temperature science can reach. And of course, the activity within each atom continues no matter what. Click this link here, take that link, put it in your toolbox, and it'll give you a whole discussion on absolute zero and how we know what scientifically. Let's keep going. Let's get into some text. This is the Leiden Papyrus, number 1, 350. This is the 100th chapter. We're going to kind of go backwards as we do this. The 100th chapter says this. You can find this on, we owe the credit to the translation on this from Wien van Dien Dungeon. I could have translated it, but I didn't. No big deal. His translation does correlate because I've read this, read the Leiden Papyrus. And also find it on praisethedivine.org in the papyrus room. You want to download it. The 100th chapter, though, which is what is important, says this. It said, the one who initiated existence on the first occasion. So as our brother Cosmic Thoughts just mentioned, Zep Tepi, we call it the time before time. Amun, who developed in the beginning, whose origin is unknown. And what do scientists not know? How the universe first comes into existence. We don't know what caused it. We do not know. We know the process from what we can see in the night sky today and from what we can calculate from different temperatures, measures, and calculations. But some things you cannot calculate. And though we know it was 2 trillion degrees and no matter existed, we don't know what caused it to be that hot, do we? We know the energy heated up and made the decision, right? That's what we do know. So it says this. It says, on the first occasion, Amun, who developed in the beginning, whose origin is unknown. No nTr, no God, if you will, came into being prior to him. No other God, nTr, was with him who could say what he looked like. He had no mother who created his name. He had no father to beget him or to say, this belongs to me, who formed his own egg. He formed his own germination. Power of the secret birth, who created his own beauty. So they're saying he's self-existent, self-maintaining. The most divine nTr who came into being alone. Every nTr who came into being since he began himself. So nothing comes before Amun. Nothing comes before the hidden. And then it materializes. And we'll cover how it materializes here shortly. So that's the first thing first. So let's look. Let's look real quick. This right here is a cosmogony. It's a cosmogony, and most people don't even know that. This is a picture of the universe. Picture your immediate solar system and universe. Amun is first. And some people who want to say energy and matter come together, let's just agree with them for a second. So Amun is first. Here is Nut. Here is the heavens. Here is the kinetic energy inside of Nut that we call Nunu or Noon. Noon and Nut birth Ra. This is Ra and his boats, the night boats. This is Tawi. This is the earth in the middle. This is the Dua underneath, the nighttime. And this is the heaven. And this is Nut again. This is the pet. This is Nut again. So they're showing you that the universe is circumferencing the earth, and the earth is here. And this is Nun. This is kinetic energy around, right? This is a basic premise of the universe that you know. This is your earth inside of the universe. Let's go to the 80th chapter of the Latent Papyrus, and let's see what that says. It says, the 8 were your first manifestation. Until you completed these, you being single, secret was your body among the elders. Talking about Amun still. And you kept yourself hidden as Amun and the head of the nTr. It says, you made your manifestations in Tatanin to accompany the primeval ones in your first primeval time. Your beauty arose as the bull of his mother. You withdrew as the one in the sky, enduring as Ra. So you just saw the sun, but we'll cover that in a moment. You returned in fathers, maker of their sons, to make an excellent heritage for your children. So he's in all of us. Energy is inside of all of us. You began manifestation with nothing, without the world being empty of you on the first occasion. So even during Zep Tepi, which comes after Amun, the world was never empty of Amun at any time. All nTr came into existence after you, and then the remainder is lost. What is this? This is the 8 that we just discussed, right? It says right here, the 8 were your first manifestation. So what we're about to see are the Remech, the Egyptians' first attempt at making a cosmogony and a cosmology, right? So we have each one, Hehu, see, you can see the H right there, etc. But they're breaking down each one. Each one of these is the 8, right? So these snake-headed ones are the females. These frog-headed ones are the males, right? And we go Nun, Naunet, we go Amun, Amunet, we go Ker and Kerhet, right? We go through all 8 of them. And these here represent aspects of the universe. They represent aspects of the universe. Yes, Ankh. As Saber Reggie created it, right? Because we don't know if it meant that for sure. But the Ankh as a what do you call, synonym or whatever you call it, yes, that's the perfect analogy and a good word, a good way to use the term Ankh to break things down. You got Amun, Nut, Hehu, and Hehuet, Kekui and Kekuet, etc., etc. But each one of these represents a portion of our existence, a portion. So we can see from, this is called the Agdad in Greek. It's called the Pesejetu Kamenu in Medu nTr. And absolutely another way to remember. And with these, we have as far back in time as our ancestors went to describe science, because they call Nun the watery mass or the abyss, or what you call dark matter and dark energy. With Amun, we have light and hiddenness inside the darkness and the powers inside of that darkness, representing what? Potential energy. Nun would be kinetic energy. And we have Hehu and Hehuet, which represent millions, timelessness, infinity, which is what you have when you have no matter. There's no way to decipher time. You just have energy traveling. The The only way we can determine the universe in classical physics is by using a form of measurement. That measurement would be time. And the particular time that we started at is 13.8 billion years. What does that mean? That means that's when our moon cooled off. The noon was physically present and visible, and now we can make a time frame from when we see it's cooling, because we have remnants of radiation from the Big Bang still visible in the sky. That's what that means. And this is your ancestors' first attempt at showing those things without getting into each breakdown and definition. If you want that, you can go to the video Cosmogony and Cosmology in Ancient Kemet, which I did. And we give a full breakdown of what each one of their powers are. Now, let's go to the 90th chapter. And we'll put it all together at the end. The Ennead combined is your body. What is the Ennead, first and foremost? This is a Greek term for what we call the Pasegetu Enu, which is another place you call Heliopolis. But the Ennead represents 9 aspects of what you would call God, or what we would call nTr, or what you can simply say in science, aspects of nature. It says every nTr joined in your body is your image. So they're talking about the image of Amun. Everything inside of him, which you eventually call the Noon, which you eventually surnamed Ptah, is your image, Amun, because that's the only way we can see your hidden form. And we know that outside of that image, whatever it may be, Amun would extend. It is the hidden, the things we do not know. Let's keep going. It says, you emerged first. You inaugurated from the start. Amun, whose name is hidden from the nTr, oldest elder, more distinguished than these. Tatanin, who formed himself by himself as Ptah. And then it says the toes of his body are the 8, talking about the Pasegetu Kamenu, or the Agdad, or the 8 nTr we just looked at, the 8 aspects of the universe. It said he appeared as Ra from the noon. Now we're talking about the great spirit, or the great, or not the great spirit, the great soul, his Ba, the sun, energy encompassed that rises above the noon, visibly, so you can see it, which nurtures what? Planets and galaxies, in galaxies. And when it nurtures those planets in the galaxies, guess what happens? Life starts to take place. Let's keep going. He appeared as Ra from noon so that he might rejuvenate. He sneezed as Atum from his mouth and gave birth to Shu and Tefnu, moisture and wind, combined in manifestation. He appears on his throne as his heart prompts, who through his power rules for himself all that is, who binds together for himself the kingship forever down to eternity, established as sole Lord. So we clearly see the statements fit cosmogony in current science and in ancient science. But like I said, it says combined is your body. Every nTr joined in your body is your image. This is why they say God is one. This is where they get the concept from. Because everything combined comes from Amun. You can't say Amun Ra yet, because it's just Amun. You can say Ra after a sun emerges, right? First, it's just Amun, it's just energy. And when that energy cools off, then we have its aspect of the noon. I can say this from the female standpoint, because in Africa, the females usually call nTr or God of a female name. So this is Amunet and this is Naunet in action at the moment, right? So all the beings combined are Amun. This is before Zeptepi. As he cools off, remember he's 2 trillion degrees hot, etc., etc. As he cools off, and we get Big Bang combustibility, because you have the 8 different nTr together forming combustibility. Remember, we covered hydrogen, helium, all those things start to come into play. Helium first, then boom. After the protons and all that annihilate each other, now we have combustibility, boom. And now we start to get different forms in our universe. Different forms. Let's go to the quantum fluctuations, right? If we go to quantum fluctuation, right around here, this is the emergence. This is the emergence. This is the right before, right? And then you get Zeptepi. That's your inflation and all that. It's the time right before the time. Then you get this afterlight pattern. This is when you can start to see the forms inside of the noon. You get what they call a dark age, whatever. It just means that the things that were inside of Amun spread out more. And so now you can see more of the noon. And then you get your first stars to develop. This is the emergence of your Ra, your Atum Ra, etc., etc. The dark ages would be like the formation of Ptah. And then here you get your Atum Ra, your Amun Ra. As it says in other scriptures like the Memphis theology, it tells you that Ptah is the father of Atum Ra, etc., etc. But then you start to develop these galaxies, these planets. Then you start to get Enneads, Pasejetu Enu, right? Because now you get Shu, Tefnut, moisture, wind, and you start to get things like Seb, the Earths, Newts, galaxies, etc., 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 etc. And they say 13.77 billion years from here to here. This only equates to about 4% of the universe, by the way. But this is where they can see the first happening of anything of this nature occurring. And you see the radiation. You see Amunis first. You see Amunis first. But let's go further, just to prove what we're saying, because we know when the light happens, nothing can travel faster than the speed of light, so the scientists say. But we know when the light happens, we know that's when it's going on. Is Amun light? Let's go further into chapter 90. It says, light was his coming into existence on the first occasion, with all that exists in stillness for awe of him. He honked by voice as the great honker, coming into a land that he created for himself while he was alone. So sound starts to come into being. Jehuti, if you will, the speaker for the nTr. He began speaking in the midst of silence, opening every eye and causing them to look. He began crying out while the world was in stillness. His yell circulated while he had no second, so that he might give birth to what is and cause them to live, and cause every man to know the way to walk. Their hearts live when they see him. His are the effective forms of the what? Pasejetu Enu, the Ennead. We just talked about the forms, how they formulate, how they come into existence, until you get this. This is what this is. This is the emergence right here. You can picture the noon in utter darkness, and then I've covered how a sun forms. Boom, a sun formulates in the night. You start to get these different objects, etc., etc. You start to get the life. You start to get, the different things. So this is the concept of nTr in our universe, right? And each one of these things, each one of these beings is a nTr. So it goes from that to this. One nTr creates another nTr. Everything in your universe begets something else, doesn't it? What happens when the sun explodes? Its particles travel out and create what? The formations of another galaxy. And it keeps doing this. The process continues on and on. This is science. And in every picture, you can see a nTr. In every form and existence, you can see a being that's alive. You can see a being that exists. You can see some of Amun's energy. This is Ra here, right? This is also called the Great Ba, right? The Great Soul. Whose soul is it? It's one of Noon's souls showing itself above its creation. It covered that for you. It says Ra emerged above Noon. And you got what? Moisture. You got the clouds. You got moisture and wind. You got Shu and Tefnu. Every picture, every form around you, everything you see in your existence surrounding you, you can see nTr in them. The water, the happy. And that's the beautiful thing about the nTr, about the Aku, the ancestors. Everything that they did, let me stop sharing here. Everything that they named is a portion of existence that you can see around you in nature. They did it with the Medu nTr. The Medu nTr shows different things in their existence that you can see, that you can comprehend, that you can understand. This is why we don't have to be nervous about science. Our cosmogony and our cosmology fit science. So there's no need to be nervous about it. You just need to know how to say, show, enunciate, and put these things together for people when you discuss them. If not, you show a video. Simple as that, right? You show them this video. But this is just the facts. These are the actualities. So remember, that's the latent papyrus that gives you all that information. There's other papyruses that give you that same information, right? There's other primary resources that also give you that same information. The Shabaka stone, there's different primary resources that will give you all the ingredients to break the story down. But this is the concept of God in a nutshell, from your Aku, from your ancestors. And when they talk about Amun being first, they say he's the oldest of the nTr. They say Noon is also, they come, they go together. They go hand in hand, matter and energy. But which comes first? Energy comes before the matter. Once matter forms, it will always have energy inside of it. It will always have Ba. It will always have Ka. It will always have spirit. It will always have soul. It will always have energy, because that's what those concepts are. That's not just me saying that. That's what they told you in ancient Kem. That's what they told you that they were. And there are more texts that will show that without question. But those texts right there, undeniable. You can't deny that. Those are just facts. That is Heka. That is Heka. Now you call Heka science. You just take out the mythos. But our mythos still personify science. We don't have to take it out. We just understand Heka. And that's exactly what I gave you today. ETE Imhotep Sani Sanat, Ankwas the Jet, Uncle Jasanab. I'm gonna let y'all go forth on this Sunday. You can see I still haven't fully woken up. I did wash and everything, but you know, now I gotta go get a haircut and all that. Imhotep Sani Sanat, Ankwas the Jet. Remember who you are and be an Asar. We'll start the introductory courses coming up here soon. I'm almost finished with them. So you know how to build your kara, so you know how to do this, so you understand, so you can write a letter to the Aku, so you can start to understand these concepts in depth. Ankwas the Jet, Uncle Johnson. Questions, real quick before I go? Nope, looking good. We'll see you soon. Duau.